Good evening, everyone. Ads here from Unity Trading Group. Welcome to your Wednesday night daily update, and what a run it has been. Been saying that for quite some time now, and honestly, it does not surprise me one bit. This is cryptocurrency. FOMO does incredible things. Volatility does even more incredible things. So we are at 18,197 at the moment, and we will dive into this. But before I start, like the video, subscribe to the channel, helps us out a lot. If you find anything in here worth or gives you any value, then please share it amongst yourselves and bring forth anyone who you think will benefit from this information. So BTC. We came up against this level of supply yesterday, and it was 16,750 to about 17,250, and we smashed straight through it, and giving us a nice retest in between, which is an incredible amount of volatility on this 4-hour time frame. If we look at the 1 hour, it'll even give you a better picture of that volatility, and we did bounce off the relevant area of demand there on the 1 hour time frame, which I haven't drawn in, but I will put that in there. There you go. So that explains the volatility there. Next, the 4-hour time frame. We are edging ever closer to this overbought condition on steamroller. Doesn't mean much, however, at the moment. Moving oscillators are going to be your worst, not your worst enemy, but not as accurate as you would like them to be, honestly. We are sitting at 81 on the RSI. We are about to get that daily tick or sell signal on our steamroller indicator, which honestly might kick off a little bit of a pullback. But as of late, if we're looking at some of these reactions to the dot, if we look at the dot appearing here, we got a little bit of a pullback here, and of course the dot appearing here, we got a little bit of a pullback here. So this could be a little bit of pullback on the cards for the 4-hour time frame as it stands, before we see a movement towards the upside again for this market to continue. But a couple of things that I want to look at. So daily, excuse me, the hay fever's killing me, so you got to really just be patient with me. But with this area here, this is our daily top on the 2017 run at about 19, to the top being 19,655. This is our last line of defense. We're looking at a immovable object versus an unstoppable force at this point. This is basically the last level of supply that I've got for you all. Is it going to be tested? It sure looks that way. It does. It sure looks that way. The momentum has been immense. We have had spikes of volume, although not as high as what we used to, but it is still pushing higher. The 19K level is not far away, and more than likely, being around 800 bucks away, it could be the area that we're heading towards, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit to see that level of 19, that level of supply, the last supply in line for the area that we potentially make a decision. And what I mean by that is, if we make a decision to push through, make a higher high on the daily time frame, and then then get our more downside, or do we reject at that 19K level without making that higher high? It remains to be seen. I would love to give you all more information than that. It really comes down to what happens at this level of supply. Are we going to respect this level, or are we going to push through this level? Time will tell. And of course, the bias has been to the upside. We've been saying this for quite some time now, or I have been. The momentum has been good. The volume has been okay. So there's no reason to try and catch the top. And I've spoken about this a few times as of late, over the last couple of weeks, I think. With BTC, look, it really pays to be, it pays to take in as much as possible. It pays to take in as much as the TA and form a trading strategy based on a stupid FOMO run. And more than likely, you're going to find that on a run like this, that the EMA fan indicator is probably going to be your best friend in the way of using just moving averages to gauge whether or not this is going to pull back or continue. And you can use the average amongst a lot of those indicators, or a lot of those moving averages to get that information. But in any case, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at $19,000 for BTC, not far away, between 19 and 19,650-ish, around that area. That's going to be our deciding factor. On the daily time frame, we've been quite overbought for a little bit of time now, since October the 19th. We are literally nearly 1 month of being in that overbought condition now. If we're scrolling out onto the weekly time frame, we're getting into that territory now on the overbought scale, with exhaustion forming on that indicator as well. We're talking about steamroller, and of course we're nearly up against the previous high on the CCI and the weekly as well. Not only that, this was brought to my attention today also, was the NVT signal. This one, where are we? I think it's the neobutane one. Nope. Bear with me one tick. Indicators, NVT. Try that one. Yes, this is very similar to the one we're looking at. Anyway, it tells you the same story, where the NVT is basically network value transactions. It basically says, is the value of BTC too high for the amount of network transactions being occurred on the blockchain? And when it turns white, we are looking at that sort of scenario, or when we're in the red bands there, and we are achieving that sort of condition at the moment. So look, grain of salt type thing, but keep it on your radar. And of course, the level of supply that I'm looking at is going to be the next significant area to look for. But if we're looking at a lot of these indicators, a lot of the indicators you need to take with a grain of salt during a FOMO run. That's really the chalk and cheese of it. And of course, if you're looking at supply and demand, we're looking at supplies above us, and we're looking for pullbacks to be short-lived in this sort of market structure until we get some really convincing market candles and movements to the downside. But yeah, like, long story short, too long don't read. We're looking at 19K, between 19 and 19,650 for the next area of supply to be tested. And of course, we've got multiple areas to the downside that we could test also. The first one being that 4 hour, that 1 hour area of demand that we did push down to and get held up on and bought back quite swiftly just in the last 4 hours. So it's going to be an interesting one, looking towards the upside at 19K for now anyway. Moving on to ETH/USD. ETH/USD not really reacting the same way, and I don't blame it, because BTC's been on a phenomenal run, and I know people don't like me using that word, but I'm going to use it anyway. It's been on a phenomenal run, and we are making grounds on ETH as well. We were really talking about this area squeezing up for Ethereum. We are, really teetering around this level of supply now. We have broken through it, which is good, but we have made a top there at around that 100% retracement at 488. So I'm looking for ETH really to give us a pullback, more than likely back down to where we tested previously, which is around here. And I'll get rid of this irrelevant level there also. So 460, 455 is going to be that area that I'm looking for ETH/USD, pending this obvious break of our trend line there. If we don't break the trend line, there's all the reason that we could continue up to that 500 mark, that special 500 round number psychological resistance area for Ethereum. And then moving on to the last one we'll look at tonight is the DXY. The DXY continuing its run to the downside. We've been talking about this for quite some time, and it is a regulated market, so this is financial advice, just ideas and opinions of Team UTG. However, we have moved back down quite perfectly to this level of demand, and it was expected. After we made that lower low and we broke through this very short-term demand here that ran across, in the last couple of videos, go back to have a look at some of the last updates that we're talking about the DXY. But pending that break, we were expecting more to the downside. So the rules of supply and demand say if we break a supply, you look for the next one above us. If we break a demand, we look for the next one below us. Obviously, there's other factors in the market structure to be mindful of, but in generalized sense, that's how we look at supply and demand. So after we broke that level of demand at around this 92.60, we were looking for the one underneath us, and of course we're at that now at 92.26, excuse me. Looking at our steamroller indicator for the DXY, it has been quite accurate, and rightfully so. It is a regulated market, so there's a lot more data to go off and a lot more reliable data at that. So looking for a bit of a bounce here, to be honest with you, and I'll get rid of these fibs to really give us an idea on where that could be. So if we draw in some of the fibs, just the immediate Fibonacci retracement from our swing high to swing low being this candle right now, we're looking towards this 38.2. The 38.2 is really the magnet area for a retracement, whether it be to the upside or the downside. And of course, no difference here where we've got a lot of liquidity sitting to the left of the 38.2. And of course, that's the area that I'd probably look for retracement for the DXY in the immediate term. And I'm talking, towards the end of the week and into the end of the trading sessions on Saturday night, Saturday morning. Sorry, Friday night, Saturday morning. But yeah, that really concludes our update for today. BTC, to reiterate, BTC looking at that 19K level of supply. It is the highest quality level that we've ever come up against. I didn't really expect us to be at this level, honestly. So they've done an amazing run, or they had an amazing run since now. So it really is incredible in the way of FOMO and everything that we've seen. And of course we know it's FOMO. There's no other explanation for it. However, we'll take it as it comes. 19K is the next level of supply. We're looking for more information on ETH if we're going to break that trend line or continue to that round number $500. And of course the DXY, we're looking for a bit of a bounce. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you guys enjoy what we do. If you have any feedback, leave it in the comments. All of our links are in the description. You can come and join us over in the Discord. We take feedback very, very kindly. And if you have any other things that you want to see on these daily updates, let us know, of course, in the Discord or in the comments. But until tomorrow, I'll see you then. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for joining us.